to me, feels like this build fixes all the issues I had on the last version. Well, hey everybody, it's Chuck. Welcome back. Well, we got another version last night, and I'm really glad about this one. This is FSD 13.2.6, and the reason I say I'm really glad about it is the previous version had some regressions in it. So while the release notes do not look like they've changed at all, again, and there they are just for a quick glance. I posted those on X earlier. I'm guessing this quick release to the .6 branch is to hopefully fix some of those lane selection regressions and maybe some of the decision making that I saw. Not everyone saw it, but I definitely did see it. So I've got my typical route in here for Memorial Park First Impressions Drive. It is a foggy day today. It is 8 o'clock on a Friday morning, so maybe just the last end of rush hour. But I'm going to start this drive in the same position I have in the past, right next to this curb I've done on the last few days, where it's had a few problems. So if I just tap and go, let's see what we got here. See, I'm right next to the curb, and object and path detected. The wheel's turning, so a little more aggressively there. But see, if you look in the camera again, I'm just on the curb, just like a cab would pull over. I'm not too close. I'm not in the grass or anything. This is where I would want to pull over. But the vision detection system has got all this red, like I'm, going to hit something. So I don't know. This needs to be fixed. They need to get some more resolution, I guess. There's a perfect view of that with the repeater camera. So there's nothing in the way. So I don't know what you're worried about. Steering wheel flinching a little bit. I know how to fix this. I'm just going to tap the accelerator, but I'm just going to give it another second here to show you that it's not doing anything. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and tap the pedal of encouragement. That is an intervention right off the bat, not to say that I could have avoided that. And that little pause right there was for a manhole. So I don't know. Some of those pauses, I mean, obviously it corrected itself on that pause, so that was fine. But right there on the curb, that same sort of resolution on Vision Park Assist gives me problems with areas that are tight. It just, I miss my ultrasonic sensors, guys. I can park in tight spots by myself manually, and the Vision system just has a little bit bigger buffer. Okay, I don't know if we're gonna do 1 or 2 UPLs today. Maybe we'll make that decision based on how this goes. I do not have the drone operator today, so let's see. There's our NHTSA stop, and there's a creep. All right, we're very busy to the left and to the right here. Lots of traffic coming, so this may be a little bit of a long wait. Okay, it's clearing up from the right, and here's a small gap if it goes. Nice, nice. That was good. Okay, so it did not use a question mark or anything like that either. It basically, I'm going to go ahead and just do 1 UPL because that was good. I may need to, the last version, it wouldn't do the median stop anymore. So I'm not sure if they've removed that to kind of dumb it down a little bit and make it a little bit more generically easy. I don't completely disagree with that. What is going on here? Do I have, oh, it's going a different way today. Oh, wait a minute. Well, I guess I didn't delete it. Let's see. I'm going to try to get it back in there, guys. Let's see. I'm going to get busted. All right, did I get you a route in there? What's going to happen? Full self-driving degraded. What's it going to do here? Okay, it is going to do a U-turn. So I got a U-turn in there. I guess when I edited that route, it's doing the U-turn in a different spot, which will be a new dynamic today. It's got pretty good forward visibility. Doesn't have that curve, but it's still going to do a U-turn here rather than re-navigate, which is what I was after. The U-turns on the Model Y are great. This test is really more for the Cybertruck. Very small gap here that I don't recommend it go for, but it's going to go for it. Boss, that was awesome. And the fact you went all the way into the right lane to let this large SUV pass you, that is the way to do that. That was a boss U-turn there. And had you not gone as smoothly as you did, I would have disengaged. But you did it. Nice and smooth. You went to the right lane and you let the faster traffic that you were effectively going to cut off if you didn't do it right proceed. Was really, really good. Highlight clip there. Okay, so one good UPL and one good U-turn to start this off. Whether or not that is an N of 1 randomness or not, I'm in a good mood so far. All right, so this is really weird on how these releases are coming out, guys. I don't know how to explain it other than something has changed, right? We are now on build 2024.45.32.10. So we're still on a .45 branch of 2024. And they went from FSD 2.5.1 to 13. Gosh, I'm messing this up. 13.5. Anyway, from a 5.1 to a .6. And they're also doing an FSD version on branch 12 now. And they bumped the 12 version up. So we're still doing hardware 3 and hardware 4 at the same time on the same build numbers. Which is good. That means the hardware 3 folks aren't waiting, and I'm really, really glad about that. Especially after, Elon pretty much dropped the bomb this week and said we're not going to be able to get there with hardware 3 to unsupervised, and we're going to have to update your hardware 3 computer, which means computer only was his thought. We'll see about the cameras or not, and he said it was going to be painful. So that painful comment is definitely something to try to interpret. Painful could mean expensive to the company. Painful could mean we still haven't even designed a computer that will fit into the spot and use the existing wiring of the hardware 3 computer. So we got to build a computer or modify an existing computer to backport to hardware 3. Because I think everybody that's done a teardown of hardware 3 and hardware 4 has said the ports aren't the same, the wiring's not the same, obviously the cameras aren't the same. So they're going to have to fix something. Okay, so now here's another late lane change. See, this trailer got in my way, and now it's decelerating. I would have done that lane change about 0.2 miles ago, and he did it at 0.1. It found a gap, and it had to do a slowdown maneuver to get behind this truck and trailer. We did it fine, so I'm complaining again, so maybe that's preference. But I just know, especially in vehicles like the Cybertruck, if you wait too long to make those lane changes, you're going to jam yourself up to where you miss your intersection. Some intersections, no big deal, reroute. Some intersections, you miss it. Your reroute can be significantly longer. Okay, flashing yellow, forward-facing, unprotected left turn, unless we get a green arrow here in a minute, with a lot of traffic. Normally, this works out just fine. I will say that the fog, is another variable today. Now, while we can see fine, it's just different, right? So, I don't know how to exactly compare. Here's a nice gap here if it wants to go for it. Depending on its context window, there's a tight gap. You can't wait. That truck is coming pretty fast, but it did it at the right speed, nice and safe. Crossing the railroad tracks there with still no symbology and a slow-moving car right in front of us that's kind of acting a little different. Meaning like it was almost like he was lost. He kind of came from the right lane, but now we've merged. But the Model Y did it just fine there. So we're going straight through this intersection, and you can kind of tell on this road Birkenhead. This is my narrow roads test, and I'd like to turn on the cameras for you guys. If you remember last build, I had what was probably my scariest regression on this, where the steering wheel jogged towards another vehicle. I do have a vehicle coming up. It's not the big Escalade like I did last time, but at least we got an opposing car scenario coming here that should give us how smooth is it going to go. You can look in the repeater camera how fast. Yeah, that was fine. We got one more coming up. Maybe it'll be a little bit different. It could have just been a very rare circumstance to where the road with no curb had a small kind of obscuration or something that the car jumped away from at the same time. All right, this is good. We got another car here. Ooh, it almost feels like it went further to the right that time. That was good. Really good. Okay, so hey, guess what? 4 cars there, no steering wheel jitteriness at all, back to the way it used to be. So I'm confident in saying that narrow roads don't have an issue on this build. I even felt it scoot further over to the right. And those of you guys that like to pick my videos apart, take a look and you'll notice, look at the steering wheel. If I've got my CAN bus data on here, look at it going closer to the edge on the cameras and everything. That was another really good clip. Okay, I think we're done with narrow roads. So now we're coming up on our I'm going to try to get better at this. Our center turn lane, unprotected left-hand turn. There was another disengagement on the previous version on this to where it jumped across the left, the first lane, and then it went, I'm going to throw the repeater up just in case there is another scenario, and it forced itself into traffic. Now it can go to the middle lane. Ooh, it's creeping out far. I'm okay with that. It creeped out. It's way out there though. We've got a tight, hey, another Cybertruck. Ooh, that's a beautiful blue. Nice. Love that one. So I almost finished wrapping my Cybertruck myself, guys. I did the Test Bros DIY colored PPF in matte black. And oh my God, that kit is just awesome. It just has everything you need to do it right. Okay, here we go. There's our gap. Nobody coming from the left. So this will just be a roller. I didn't get the same scenario where it forced itself into traffic like it did last time. So that wasn't exactly a repeat, but hey, it did it just fine today. So even if it's an N of 1, I'm going to say so far, so good on this build. Pay attention to the road, Chuck. Yeah, so my wrap on the Cybertruck is going great. I'm not going to say it's perfect. It does not look professionally done. There were a few edges that I didn't quite understand how to do an edge before I did one. I may have to redo the pillars, which is the big, huge triangle part above the doors. I may redo that because the edges just aren't sticking. But G at Test Bros has been so supportive. There's a Facebook group with a lot of people you can ask questions to. And, you know, to kind of work your way through it. The videos are rock solid. I do have some recommendations on the videos, though, to G that I'm going to give. And this is kind of a shout out to any of you guys that have ever built a Prusa 3D printer like I have a couple times. You know, when you build the Prusa printer, you got these very long detailed instructions, you got some video help, but then there's that section of user feedback and frequently asked questions that they put inside of each step. I think that the DIY wrap kit could benefit from that because there is a lot of probably common mistakes that are made by DIYers that the pros didn't have the time to maybe type out, that the crowdsourcing of the feedback would really benefit some instructions. And I think this is true for any sort of instruction set to a large audience. If you allow the crowd to go in there and type a few details of, hey, you know, while I was doing this, this happened and this is how I fixed it, or I had to redo it, you know, as a first time installer like I was, reading those user feedback comments might have prevented some of the small little technique errors I was making initially. It's just something I really think that Joseph Prusa has done really well with his detailed instructions on something that is rather complex to build. The feedback mechanism of those instructions, and it's web-based, right, is really, really good. Okay, so we jumped over 3 lanes there. It looks like there was an accident up ahead. That would have been an interesting dynamic. So because we're out here at 8:15 a.m., guys, we're getting our school zone validation again. And notice how it didn't go into the left lane today. It's all, oh, look at me. I said it every single time. It went into the left lane now. So we do have a lead car. I really want to be in the right lane, though. I'm going to try to not have a lead car. So I'm going to try to get over. Come on, let me go over to the right. I'm putting the blinker on to try to force not having a lead car. It won't go. Look at this. I'm putting the blinker on. It won't get in the right lane. That's 3 times. Okay, now I put the blinker on. Okay, so now I don't have a lead car controlling me. Big pothole there. But look, it did. It's slowing down. It's flashing. I'm all the way down to 19. Guys, it slowed down for that school zone. Now, when's it going to speed up? When's it going to speed up? So I'm at the end school zone sign already passed. So in my mind, it slowed down for that flashing yellow. But what is its feedback to speed up? Okay, that car just passed me faster. Okay, this is a great example of how I thought that school zones were implemented. It slowed down for that flashing yellow, but it can't read the end of school zone sign, and there's no metadata in the map to tell it any differently. So I'm just going to guess that it's going to treat that school zone all the way up to this red light. And when we accelerate after this red light, it's going to go back to the 40 miles an hour, which goes back to the reading of signs point. It honored the school zone. Good job, Tesla. I'm giving you a clap for there. But it was now obvious to me that you did not know where the end of school zone was, where you could reaccelerate. Now, there's a few other variables in there. Was it looking ahead and saw the light was red? Maybe it didn't need to accelerate because it was already slowing down. But I will tell you, I've never seen the Tesla honor a red light in the distance and just decelerate to save energy. I've never seen that before. We had a lead car to the left of us that then accelerated past us. Interesting scenario where those cars ran the red light. We had a green and the Ego waited on them. Yeah, so here we go. We're speeding back up to our speed limit here. So it's almost like it needed another piece of metadata to give it permission, I guess, to accelerate back up to the speed limit. And in that scenario, the red light was acting as the cleared to go faster zone. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about that school zone. I'm getting kind of a lot of highlight clips already on this video. But the school zone one was an interesting one because it's such a, that is implemented so many different ways across the country and the world with signage, with lights, with people crossing guards and things like that, you know, back to, it has to be able to read signs, in my opinion, to get it right in the long run. And we're just not there yet on reading signs. You know, and I made a special podcast, and hey, those of you that don't subscribe to my podcast and are interested in maybe having the audio format on your phone or something, look me up on the podcast platforms. Just search for Chuck Cook and you'll see my podcast. I'm simulcasting all of these in all the platforms, and I'm trying to make sure everyone knows that that's out there. And give me a rating or review. I don't know much about podcasting yet, but apparently to have your podcast pop up in discovery type applications, you need to kind of have some reviews and not necessarily word reviews, but at least rankings. And I just don't have any yet. But back to the point I was trying to make about the earnings call and what Elon said about the robotaxi in June of 2025. I think that's still an aspirational goal. It's probably not going to make it by June. I mean, shoot, tomorrow is February. And, while this 13.2.6 is looking good so far, I have a hunch that an unsupervised robotaxi is probably going to need to be version 14 or something. Now, those release notes we have still have a lot of upcoming features that could make it a lot closer to robotaxi with the park, unpark, and precision parking kind of details, model scaling. All of that sort of stuff should make a huge difference, but we don't have it yet. So who knows whether that's V14 or V13.3 or V13.5. I don't know. Who knows? I'm going to have to just refresh my mind because I'm throwing those numbers out there. Yeah, see, we're on 13.2. So that in my mind, that would mean we need to be 13.3, 4, or 5 probably for a robotaxi on this build, or jump to 14. Something like unsupervised is probably going to be a major build like V14, I would think, rather than just a feature implementation. Okay, jumping up on the interstate here. This is Interstate 295, just to give a little bit of highway testing, lane selection, speed changes, stuff like that. Nice little boost there, good lane change, no issues. So far, so good on this build. No problems. Thank you for getting it out so quick, Tesla. An interesting point, though, guys. I've had my camera running, and I have not captured any ADAS operators on my turn. So maybe they're done with my turn, and that's not going to be a good canary in the coal mine indicator anymore of upcoming releases. Maybe they're validating it somewhere else. Maybe they don't want me publishing that, so they're avoiding the cameras and doing it somewhere else where I don't have a camera. Something like that. I don't know. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep looking. But maybe that indicator is gone, but that's okay. I mean, listen, it was great while it lasted. I still think somehow they're validating unprotected left-hand turns. It may just not be right in front of my camera. I think they're changing direction on unprotected left-hand turns. Honestly, the way the car is waiting on both lanes now, I haven't seen it jump to the median very much and wait. They may have just said medians are too hard for the Cybertruck, and we don't have a good way of solving this for multiple vehicle types, so we just gotta wait and or avoid, right? And I haven't seen them do the avoid yet. Editing trip to keep my points going. FSD may be degraded. I don't know. That may be the fog. Did you see that a warning there? I mean, it doesn't feel like it's very foggy where we are right now, but that was a degraded message that just popped up. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that the unprotected lane change behavior, where it's waiting on both sides to be clear most of the time, is about all three of these being released on Hardware 3, Hardware 4, Cybertruck, and AI4 Model Ys and 3s at the same time? Do you think that's related? I mean, because obviously the Model Y can fit into the median. It's small enough, so can the Model 3. Cybertruck can, but you've got to do an aggressive question mark. I don't know. It's a thought I've got. Okay, so we're coming up on our lane change to the right. And remember last time I had a comment on its lane selection, and it went in the right lane. And now it chose my favorite lane. So I don't know if that's random or not, because this is the best lane to merge to the left, whereas this right lane has an exit only a little while later. Both of them are fine here. I'm just noting on each build how the planner chooses which lane to get in. Because the lane selection, not so much on this drive, but on that that drive, actually, no, it is this drive. We're going to see it when we go up to exit to Memorial. No, it's not that drive. It's a different drive. There's a different drive where if it takes the far left lane, it's got to fight 3 or 4 lanes over. All right, so this is great. Can you guys see in the camera the light diffusion happening because of the fog? So honestly, it's probably helping the camera because it doesn't have any direct sun in your face. It's being diffused by this fog layer, but it's a very, almost looks smoky kind of environment, which is different, right? So the cameras probably have different visibility. I don't know, within the range that the camera can actually see, I can see just as clear as if this fog wasn't here. But when I'm looking far into the distance or at the treetops, I definitely can't see as far clearly. But we don't have any degraded messages, so it's doing it just fine. I don't know what that degraded was a few minutes ago, whether that was fog related or maybe camera cleanly. My cameras, I think, are clean. I don't have any issues on that. Okay, so I've changed the route a little bit towards the end of the drive. See this car wanting to get over? Sorry, I keep changing subjects. This guy's got his blinker on. Is Ego going to give him room? Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I don't know. I felt a little bit of an acceleration rather than deceleration to let him over. It left the gap, though. Did you guys see a blinker on him? I bet you did. I wasn't looking at the screen. You know, I feel like the screen's being more tolerant today. If you guys go back to my 13.2.5.1 video, I think I was bitching a lot about the screen nags. I was being busted constantly. I don't think I've been really nagged very much at all in this one. I saw a couple pay attention to the roads, but it didn't get to the point of beeping at all. So maybe they loosened that back up. Thank you for that. I don't know, maybe I need to do a little bit of a test. Let me see, I'm gonna look at the screen. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4 potato, 5 potato, 6 potato, 7 potato, 8 potato, 9. Okay, so almost 10 seconds, and it kind of gave me to pay attention to the road there. And now I'm gonna break the golden rule. I'm gonna look at my phone. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4 potato, 5 potato, 6 potato, 7 potato. Okay, so I got 7 seconds looking at my phone. And it went straight to pay attention to the road, right? It didn't do the flashing blue or anything. That was a pure model detection of my eyes not looking at the road. Hey, listen, 7 to 10 seconds, if whatever that is, that's fine. Much better. I can look at the screen. I can change a music song. Okay, this guy, okay, that was, he wanted over. The Ego didn't really give him room. He waited, but had he been aggressive, I think we were in a good position to slow down. The traffic just slowed down a little bit, and these cars started to kind of jockey for the lane they wanted to be in. And Ego was very quickly picking up speed to fill the gap as some of these other cars wanted to get over. So I guess that behavior, and I am in standard mode right now, for those of you listening, that behavior kind of shows that it's not being like overly cautious and letting everybody, you know, cut them off. which I like. Hey, if there's a gap and you start sticking your nose in, fine. But, just because you put your blinker on doesn't mean I'm going to create this large gap for you in rush hour. If the timing's right, we will. But that was a good scenario there to kind of show the aggressiveness or assertiveness, maybe is a better word, even in standard mode. Yeah. I don't know, just behind us there, we had a disabled car on the road that had a road ranger with a lane change kind of a sign, and now they're taking 3 lanes down to 2. Those sort of things in the future, I think, need to go into this crowdsourcing, sharing data kind of a layer, right? We've talked about memories on past videos, how the Titans approach maybe could be implemented with Tesla real-world AI. Now that road ranger back there is blocking a lane, we're creating a traffic scenario. Could the Tesla fleet, now that I've passed it and seen it, could any Teslas behind me now benefit from that information, such as getting in the far left lane earlier, changing the planner route, or are you just going to wait for the traffic to build up? That's what I'm talking about, right? So that lane blockage is just like a pothole, is just like a object in road ahead. And when I say object in road ahead, I'm thinking like large semi-tractor tread kind of laying in the road that you would not want to run over, right? There are things that you don't want to run over on a highway at high speeds. See, this car's got his blinker on and forcing his way in. Ego let that happen just fine. I've got horns happening. I've got my blinker on. I'm working my way over. The Ego is doing amazing here. This is 48, in high dense traffic here at rush hour. It's getting its way over to the right. It's not going the speed limit because the traffic is going faster. It's dynamically getting. This was really, really good maneuver. I don't think a human could have done that really any smoother with local knowledge of lane changes and letting cars over. See another car cutting us over. It's not overreacting at all to other vehicles being more aggressive than we are. I got our blinker on for one more lane change, and look, we made it all the way over, and now we're jumping off the highway. That was an amazing little highway section there. Got some rush hour, got some lane changes, a little bit of degraded visibility. That was really, really good. All right, that's in there. Just double checking our route for you guys. Full self-driving may be degraded. Don't know why that just popped up there. Visibility is fine right here where it said, but it gave me that little warning. What do you guys think that's from? That can't be from the fog. Just no way. I mean, we're not in heavy enough fog. I mean, I can see 2,000 meters, 3,000 meters. I don't know. All right, very smooth there. That was a nice change. Cars jumping out in front of us. It's continuing. It's in the right lane, coming up for our yield on the right side as we go towards Memorial Park. Do you guys want me to keep doing that thin chain test that I do at Memorial Park? Give me some feedback on that. Dan O'Dowd loves it. He keeps putting it on video. Look at your software, Elon. It should be banned from the roads. I don't know. I kind of chuckle every time Dan puts one of my videos up. I'm just saying like it is. He can use it if he wants. I don't care. I'm not going to put out videos that are tailored so Dan can't use them. Years ago, we used to put this little Dan clown on our videos right during those clips so he wouldn't want to use it. But whatever, Dan. If you're watching this video, have at it, buddy. All right. So see how the fog's thickening up here again? This is where I would expect to see the degraded message, right? I mean, I can still see plenty to drive, but the visibility is definitely degraded, right? I mean, as a pilot, we would call this is probably getting close to a quarter mile. It's probably a little bit more than that. Probably around a half mile of visibility right now. It keeps changing dynamically. Maybe it's a quarter mile visibility. Yeah, I mean, RVR would be probably 1,800, 2,000, something like that. Not that the car knows what RVR is. Little aviation tilt. So RVR stands for runway visual range. Runway visual range is a metric that we use in aviation to measure actual visibility on the runway, not from the tower. So RVR is measured with light sensors. So imagine a light just being projected and a receiver on the other end being able to measure how much light is being received at that end. And they have these sensors down the runway, and they can measure the amount of visibility at the approach end, so right where your wheels would touch down, the midsection, and at the end of the runway. And for a specific runway you're landing on, you would be able to know what the visibility is at all three sections of your runway. And we have certain approaches that we can do to these runways, and we have certain limitations based on the equipment on our aircraft, maybe even your qualification level. If you're a brand new captain, you might be restricted from landing in certain visibility situations. And all of that RVR kind of dictates the type of approach we choose and how we make the aircraft land. The Airbus that I fly has a capability of landing in basically zero visibility almost, because the plane lands itself. And then after you roll out, the pilot has to take over basically to taxi, which in that situation is actually the most dangerous maneuver. Taxiing in low visibility is more dangerous than the plane landing itself on a runway. Anyway, that was our aviation little sidebar for the day. The fog is definitely getting thicker here. I would expect it even to, now's when I want degraded visibility, because now the range the cameras can see, it's definitely getting blurrier. The screen is still showing very good resolution on the items out front. So it doesn't feel like the display is being degraded at all. So maybe the car is seeing just fine. Now we're taking a left turn here. Got a good car here. We got to go around these parked cars. We got a pedestrian slowly crossing the road in front. No issues there. But boy, look out here at the river. So right here on the river, look at this fog. Now that's some degraded visibility. This is where I need you to give me my degraded visibility notice. What are you going to do? Okay, is it going to pull over to the right? I need you to go down there towards our chains again. Woo! Wow. Now, see, I'm seeing those chains right now as a human. The Tesla's not looking at this parking scenario having chains. So it's going to park right here. We got a truck here to play with, which might help me in this scenario. Okay, so, it did park. Now I'm going to go ahead and go and drive. And I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to say, I want to park, right there. I'm going to hit start. Okay, it's going to have to get its angle right. Guys, this isn't going to be fixed. It can't see that chain. It's complete. The auto park stack has taken over. Okay, so it can't see the chain, so it was going to try to do that again. But I'm going to do my jam it scenario again, where I'm going to do this. I'm going to back it up a little bit to kind of make it have to kind of do, let me see. I'm trying to use this truck. He's just waiting there. But I'm trying to create a scenario where the car needs to back up a little bit. All right. So see that cone? It sees the cone right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into park, and I'm going to go ahead and press and hold to continue my route. All right, see how it sees the obstruction? That's good. So it needs to back up first. Oh, man. It precisely went around the cone. That was really good, though. I'm not going to complain there. I was trying to create a scenario where I had to back up. But did you see how tight that was with that cone? It went nice and slow. It saw the cone, and it went for it. Because that cone was high enough for this front camera up here to see it, I think that is why it was able to proceed. But, all right, this fog is thick. Wow. And maybe that's why it's only going 10 miles an hour. I don't know. I really want a degraded message here. Well, maybe I don't. But I don't know why the ones were popping up earlier. I don't really mind it going nice and slow here. I think that's the appropriate speed. Hey, everybody. At the end of this drive, right at this section, I did have a service warning that was talking about camera visibility being limited. So if you look at this clip right here at 8:35 a.m., it was in the fog, but I got to remove dirt and debris from the camera view by cleaning the windshield warning that was in the car at the end of the drive. So just to kind of know that my dirty camera visibility feature triggered this at the end of the drive. And there's what it looks like. And down here in the service menu is this camera visibility in the upper right-hand corner. And that's where those are stored. and you can kind of see right there, and yeah, the live stream isn't there. Just to kind of show what that means. So those camera degraded messages that hopefully I'm injecting this at the right point in the video were created by the fog in this scenario. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Check that out. I can't see the stop sign up ahead. Neither can it, right? It's got it mapped over there. So the stop sign, let's see when it comes into visibility here. It's kind of obscured by the tree. I see it right now. And the car sees it right now. Okay, so there was a little bit of a, you know, when it was mapped on the screen. Not that that's when it saw it. Okay, so here's our NHTSA stop. Okay, we got a car coming left here it needs to wait on. There's our good visibility point of view. And now it should go just fine. Yep. Okay, so now we're going to the cul-de-sac. A couple versions ago, remember it had this weird usage of the gore section that kind of went left over here. Good, it's not doing that. But look at this visibility. Wow, I can't even see the red light. Now I can see it. It can see it too pretty good. That's good. Those lights are starting to show up. This fog visibility is giving a new dynamic to test today. Okay, so we missed a green arrow. We have a flashing yellow. So we're waiting on a gap. And the gap, I don't think I can show you guys much on the screen because basically looking for cars into the fog, you know, if you don't have your headlights on, it's not as obvious you're there as if you do have your headlights on. But I can see them all very clearly. Okay, so after this, yeah, it's even pre-rolling. It knows it's going. That was good. I love pre-rolls. It lets me know what the car is thinking. All right, so now we're going back into the cul-de-sac, back on the river though, and woo, it looks like there's a moving truck with a bunch of bodies down there today. So what's you gonna do, Ego? All right, because I'm gonna edit you right now to make you figure it out. See those bodies? It's mapping. Please pay attention to the road, Chucky. Come on. All right. So this looks like a camera crew or something. Okay, no, I don't know what. Okay. Aha! You got to do a 3-point turn today, don't you? Look at you, like a rock star. All right, Ego, good job. I can't trip you up with the cul-de-sac today. Although in the last version, that was almost a regression too. It went round and round and round and round. And then it made it. And then we got an opposing car with low visibility, and now we're going straight through this intersection, which is great. Oh, it's green though. I'd be pressing it. See that green light? I'd be going for it. That's definitely, so humans do that. So I don't know, in the training data, they're obviously not getting if you see a green light, go for it. Oh, backing out car here. Is it gonna wait? Oh, yes, it sees those lights, it stopped. The car's proceeding. Very, very good behavior there. Especially if you wanted that parking spot, right? So that's good. You see the car backing out. You see the trajectory entering the lane. If you see the reverse lights, stop and honor it. But man, this fog up here at 5 points is thick. I'm just now seeing the stop sign now, visually with my eyes. When does it matter? Oh, there it is. It sees it pretty good. It sees it pretty good. All right, so it's got a weird loop in here, guys. And if it does that loop, that's a fail. So I'm not, okay, we've got a pedestrian here too. And let's see what she does. If she's gonna go, okay, the car's going for it. Oh, hey, a little bit of a jog there. Guys, oh gosh, that's not legal. Okay. Oh gosh, what are you doing? I'm gonna show you, okay. Oh, I'm forcing it. Oh no, this is not what you're supposed to do here. You're looking like okay. Did you see that? It was backing up into that car. I let it do a maneuver it shouldn't have. Yeah, that is not a traffic circle Tesla, so I tried to catch it all before it went away. I snapshotted it. That is an unfair test. It tried to get itself out of it. But in traffic, you saw that car go behind me and it was continuing to back up into it, and I was in the wrong. I was in the wrong for perhaps even letting it continue there without the disengagement immediately. But I just wanted you to show you what it was going to do, and then I took over once it kind of interfered. That car kind of asserted itself. Had that car stayed there and let me be the out-of-town tourist doing a U-turn there, I would have let it do it. But because he proceeded behind me, that was when the safety threshold for me was broken anyway. I've changed this route up a little bit since last time to go back towards, ooh, good scenario here. He came in quickly. We've got to make room, slow down. Very good there. Very good there. To go back to Biscotti's in Avondale, which is that very busy kind of walking village with lots of side parking. Okay, so we had a disengagement there that was, yeah, it was safety related. It was a safety related disengagement. The ego could have physically done it, meaning like the robo-taxi scenario would not have gotten stuck there. It would have figured it out, but it would have been something that it was backing, like right when I disengaged is when it was backing up into that car that decided to go around me. Had I not disengaged, I am confident the car would have stopped before it hit that car, but that it had exceeded my threshold of being the obnoxious driver with cameras all over it, testing it with other humans around. That wasn't the right thing to do. But the reason it got itself in that scenario is because of the planner, right? And the scenario I gave it, right? Where it thought that little riverside loop was a traffic circle. So, right? So back into the discussion we've had before about the planner and the vision system kind of being a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of a scenario, with how do you tell which one's in charge? Who's really in charge? The planner's going to get you close. The vision should be telling you what to do. But the fact that the planner allowed for a tight little blue loop to go around that light led the vision system into a no-win scenario, meaning like you set me up for failure. So I don't know that is vision's problem. I think that's a planner problem. And when it's a planner problem, I don't know how you fix it without fixing the map data everywhere in the world. So, right, unless Tesla's going to go in there and now that they've seen this video and go into the map data and say, do not do a whatever there, I don't know how you fix that. Do we go to OpenStreetMaps and, not allow traffic flow like that? I don't know. I just know I've got, one of those here on my route, but, if I've got one here, I bet every little town's got one, except for Carmel, Indiana, up where Bradford lives. They've got traffic circles everywhere. I don't know. So what do you guys think? Maybe I should stop speculating and just let you guys chat about, that scenario. I obviously set it up. The reason I set it up this time differently and I didn't realize that outcome was by putting Biscotti's in here as another destination. The planner said, oh, if I'm going to 5 Points, I've got to go around that light and then go back to Biscotti's. That's how it got created this time versus the previous times, is because I put a different route in here. I will obviously use that route again, not necessarily to continue to trip it up, but to see if there's any changes in the planner around that intersection or how it chooses to handle intersections like that. I mean, I would argue that the vision system could have possibly said, there's no way I can do that turning radius. Kind of like it makes a decision on U-turns, right? I mean, hopefully it can say, whoa, I can't do a U-turn here. I can't make that turning radius. Now, I don't know if vision does that or not. Is that all done? Is that all done by the planner saying U-turn is an option? Pay attention to the road, Chuck. I'm trying to finish my route here because I wasn't able to get... It seems like there's a limit on the number of waypoints I can have in a route, because I got to the point when I was setting this up for you guys to drive, my add button wasn't at the bottom anymore, and I couldn't put my very last point in there. I don't know. Do you guys know anything about that? How does that work? Is there only like 10 points or 8 points allowed in that route? All right, we're going through Avondale. Looks like the route is exactly like I want it. We've got a bus stopped over here to the right. Not a school bus, a city bus, right? It does say stop, but it's not the school bus type of stop where you put the sign out and you're not allowed to pass it. You can pass city buses in that scenario. So that wasn't a good school bus scenario. So this is Avondale. I kind of wanted to go this way only because there's a lot of cars backing up. sometimes people crossing. Looks like we've got a little bit of extra construction here today, but my speed's being constrained by lead cars and things like that. So, but the visualization is really worth looking at here. There's a lot going on in the occupancy network. Yeah. Okay. Well, even if there wasn't anything exciting to see on that little jaunt through Avondale today, it is what set up that scenario at 5 points that we had to have the disengagement to save the day, to get out of that intersection. I don't know. Save the day is not the right word. The car could have gotten itself out of it, but I needed to stop it from doing what it was doing. I don't know. I'm so far on this drive, I'm pretty happy, right? That 5 points disengagement isn't going to make me poo-poo this build. That's a planner issue, and the car was doing fine, figuring it out. It was being too aggressive, backing up into traffic. I kind of needed it to wait till the traffic cleared for that backup. All right, so here we are on the S-curves. No blinkers, which is great. That's been gone since version 12. And we're going to interject ourselves into our two little traffic circles coming up around the corner that should be pretty good to see. I don't know. I have a feeling we're going to sit on this build for a little while. We went to .6 to get off of the .51 branch that had those regressions. I wonder what .6 was doing. It had to be in the hopper while they pushed out 0.1. Why would you push out a 0.6 right after a 0.1 with no changes in the release notes? That doesn't make sense to me. Unless this was lying and waiting for doing something else, and then they said, okay, we got to just push that out. All right, there's our yield for traffic. Nice flow there. Model Y never has any issues with these radius of turn. The Cybertruck kind of get a little rough on those turns a little bit. Very smooth. Good job. One more to go, and then it's just going to be kind of merging. It doesn't really go around the loop on this one. It kind of goes right immediately, but it needs to yield to the appropriate traffic. Blinkers on, that's good. Going right and staying right. Yeah. Easy peasy. Yeah, I was starting to say, I think we're going to be on this build for a little while, because I think the next build needs to have those model scaling upcoming items. Those upcoming items have been sitting there for a while. And I'm guessing that's going to be a 13.3. And I don't think we're going to jump to 14. I think 14 is going to be saved for unsupervised. So I think we're going to have a 13 dot something that has many of those functions added, get some miles on it. And I think version 14 is going to be saved for June 2025 in Austin. You know, the shareholders meeting that Tesla usually has is usually around that time of year. More than likely they picked June for the shareholders meeting timing. And, you know, while I've said it's an aspirational goal to get it as a paid service out in Austin by June, especially since tomorrow is February, if they can't make a public service that everybody can download and call ride hails in Austin, I'm pretty sure they're going to have something they can demonstrate at the shareholders meeting, even if it's on Tesla's property. At every shareholders meeting, there's always been something like a factory tour, some sort of technology demonstration that is kind of showing off the latest and greatest. I think without a doubt, what they're setting up is a shareholders version of the We Robot event, but in the vehicles they have available. Maybe they'll be giving cybercab rides at the shareholders meeting like they did at the We Robot event in Burbank. So I don't know. More than likely, if we're not going on public streets in June, we're going on Tesla property for the shareholders meetings to get the feeling and the sensation of the demo drives. But I think that if we get robotaxi rides in Austin at the shareholders meeting, and I'm saying we as if I'm going, I don't know if I'm going to have an invite or not. I hopefully can get to go, but it all depends on timing. At the We Robot event, we had a very Disneyland sort of feeling on the screen. The Warner Brothers Studios was mapped with fake cities and fake street names and the routes and everything that were not real world maps, right? It was created for that scenario on the Warner Brothers studio, right? At Austin, I don't think we're going to have that Disneyland sort of effect. Even if we're stuck on company property, I think it'll feel like Google Maps or the actual FSD system, more real world than the We Robot event would have been. So the fact those cars have been driving around the lots, and now the brand new cars are driving, yellow light going through it, and that was good. And now that the brand new vehicles, their cameras are being calibrated on the line and they roll out autonomously and go to their logistics loading spots, that's just mind blowing to me. I know technically it's not very difficult, but they probably have a separate little map stack that's in there for, loading line 1, loading line 2, loading line 3, right? But I guess that's just map data, right? All they need to do is have map data that's precise enough to have POIs to take you to the exact spot, right? I don't know. I've never seen how a car can pick a parking spot yet. And those loading lines are basically the width of parking spots. So the fact that it can come up along 5 or 6 different loading lines and know which one it's supposed to go into, even if it was with a POI labeling a loading line, it feels like that might be our first peek at precision parking, right? Maybe there's an actual GPS coordinate that's being used at the precision parking stack layer that we don't have yet on FSD in our public vehicles that they're using there. But the fact that those brand new vehicles are being delivered to customers means it's in there somewhere, right? Unless it's the factory build. You know how the factory builds have the .100, .200, .300? Maybe those are the builds that have that logistic stuff in it. Anyway, I'm speculating again, but it's an interesting subject. All right, we're almost done with our drive, and the fog is lifting a little bit, and I got the sun in my eyes, and I'm squinting like I squint. I'm going to just go ahead and put my visor down so I'm not squinting so much, but the camera is not having any problems, no alerts here about visibility with direct sunlight. Good lane change, plenty in it. See, well, maybe we're going around because of this tractor or this dump trailer here. I was thinking that was a pretty early lane change at 0.7 miles for our left turn up here, but maybe it was doing that because of the dump trailer. All right, so I guess we have one last litmus test on this drive to verify all the regressions from the previous version were gone. If you hadn't watched my last video, I put the highlight clips on X, and this very last turn coming up here at the light, the vehicle joined the wrong lane as it went into the subdivision, which was probably the straw that broke the camel's back for me on that version. I'm like, you can't do that, and it had never done that before. Now, granted, looks like we're going to have a lead car cheater here. Ooh, maybe not. Maybe he'll go in that gap, and I'll have to wait. This is good. Oh, and I'm going to have a car, though. Yeah. So see, okay, so this isn't a good litmus test because that car is now obviously going to be my obstruction, and I'm going to go around that car. But anyway, it did it. So that wasn't the litmus test I had hoped for, but it, to me, feels like this build fixes all the issues I had on the last version. I think that wraps it up for me today. Hey, if you're still with me here, I don't know, 50-something minutes later, thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys for joining, feeding into the comments. I did ask a lot of questions. Please feel free to chime in the comments, and I love getting that feedback and communicating with you both on X, YouTube, and also on the podcast. Don't forget to look for me out there on the podcast media forums. I'm trying to grow that platform. In any case, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.